Welcome to another episode of the Busy Mommy podcast, where we discuss all things parenting to help you navigate the wonderful yet challenging journey of motherhood. I'm your host, Kevin Doubleway, and today we have a special guest who is an expert in effective communication with kids. She's an author and mom of 3. Please welcome Dr. Emily Johnson.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here and share insights on this crucial aspect of parenting.
Absolutely, Dr. Johnson. Communication is key in any relationship, and when it comes to our children, it's even more critical. Let's dive right in. Why is effective communication with kids so important?
Well, communication is the foundation of a healthy parent-child relationship. It builds trust, understanding, and connection. When kids feel heard and valued, it positively impacts their emotional well-being and behavior.
That makes a lot of sense. Can you share some strategies for effective communication with our kids?
Certainly. One important strategy is active listening. This involves giving your full attention, making eye contact, and showing empathy. Let me share a real-life example. Last week, a mom in my practice, let's call her Sarah, had a challenging conversation with her teenage daughter, Lily. Instead of immediately jumping in with advice, Sarah actively listened to Lily's concerns about school and peer pressure. By doing so, she strengthened their bond and created a space for open dialogue.
Active listening is a great tip. What else can parents do to enhance communication?
Another crucial aspect is using positive language. Instead of saying, "Don't do that," try framing it positively. For example, instead of saying, "Don't run in the house," you could say, "Let's walk inside." Positive language fosters cooperation and helps kids feel more empowered.
I love that. It's all about creating a positive environment. Can you share more examples or scenarios where effective communication made a significant difference?
Absolutely. I recently worked with a single dad, Mark, who was struggling to connect with his 8-year-old son, Jake. By incorporating play into their conversations, Mark noticed a significant shift. They started playing games and building Lego together, allowing Jake to express himself more freely. This play-based communication not only strengthened their relationship, but also helped Jake develop better emotional regulation.
Incorporating play into communication is a fantastic idea. It makes it more enjoyable for both parents and kids. Now, what about dealing with challenging topics or conflicts?
It's essential to create a safe space for discussing difficult subjects. Use I statements to express your feelings without blaming. For example, saying, "I feel worried when you don't let me know where you are," is more effective than saying, "You always make me anxious." This helps kids understand the impact of their actions on others.
Such valuable advice, Dr. Johnson. Creating that safe space is indeed crucial. Now let's delve a bit deeper into the concept of I statements. Can you provide our listeners with more examples or perhaps a step-by-step guide on how to incorporate these statements into their conversations with their kids?
Absolutely. Using I statements involves expressing your feelings and needs in a way that is non-confrontational. For instance, instead of saying, "You never clean up after yourself," you could say, "I feel overwhelmed when the house is untidy, and I need help keeping it organized." This approach encourages a more collaborative problem-solving mindset rather than putting your child on the defensive.
Dr. Johnson, your insights are truly invaluable. Let's continue exploring effective communication by delving into the role of active participation in children's interests and hobbies. Can you share with our Busy Mommy listeners how being actively engaged in their child's world can enhance communication and strengthen the parent-child bond?
Absolutely, Kevin. Actively participating in your child's interests shows them that you value and appreciate their passions. This shared experience creates a natural avenue for communication. For example, if your child loves painting, join them in creating art. This not only provides quality time, but also opens up opportunities for them to express their thoughts and feelings.
That's a wonderful way to connect with our children on a deeper level. Now, moving on to a different aspect, how can parents effectively navigate the challenges of technology and screen time in today's digital age while maintaining open communication with their kids?
Technology is indeed a prevalent part of our lives, and it's essential for parents to establish healthy boundaries. Instead of imposing strict rules, involve your child in the decision-making process. For instance, discuss together how much screen time is reasonable and what activities they enjoy online. By involving them in the conversation, you not only set limits, but also teach them responsibility and self-regulation.
Fantastic advice, Dr. Johnson. Now, let's explore the topic of discipline and consequences. How can parents effectively communicate expectations and consequences without resorting to punitive measures? Can you share some positive discipline techniques that promote communication rather than shutting it down?
Absolutely. Positive discipline involves setting clear expectations, providing consequences that are related to the behavior, and maintaining open communication throughout. Instead of focusing solely on punishment, emphasize teaching and learning. For instance, if a child forgets to complete their homework, discuss the importance of responsibility and time management rather than immediately resorting to punitive measures. This approach fosters understanding and communication.
It's evident that communication is at the core of positive discipline. Now let's switch gears a bit. We've discussed verbal and nonverbal communication, but what about the importance of fostering emotional intelligence in children? How can parents nurture their child's emotional intelligence through effective communication?
Emotional intelligence is a crucial aspect of a child's development. Parents can foster emotional intelligence by encouraging their children to identify and express their emotions. Create a safe space for them to share their feelings and validate those emotions. For example, if your child is upset about a friend at school, listen empathetically and help them find constructive ways to cope.
Wise advice, Dr. Johnson. As we wrap up today's episode, do you have any final tips for our busy mommy listeners?
Essentially, remember that effective communication is an ongoing process. Be patient, be present, and be open to learning from your children. Every interaction is an opportunity to strengthen your connection.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for sharing your expertise with us today. And to all our busy mommy listeners, we hope you found these tips valuable. Remember, you've got the power to build strong connections through effective communication with your kids. That wraps up another episode of the Busy Mommy Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe for more parenting tips and insights. Until next time, stay busy and be the best mom you can be.